You beautiful lot. My name's Jason. This is my 80s podcast. You put the boom boom into my heart. Right, as always, your number one song this week in 1981, February. I'm not doing the UK one because it was Joe Dolce with What's the Matter, You? Hey, gotta know respect, still at number one. So we're going over the pond to America to their Billboard number one, and it was Dolly Parton with 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. Come on, that is a classic song. No one, I don't think I've ever heard anybody call Dolly Parton or dislike her. She is an absolute living legend. And 9 to 5, come on, 9 to 5 is just a classic song. Even now, people still love it. It's the one song, them bars of that tight right at the beginning is the one that gets you on them dance floors, and you know it does. So yes, that's number one song in America, 1981, Dolly Parton and 9 to 5. Right, you're not going anywhere. Because now it's Name That Boom Boom. And yes, for people that are on video, I wear glasses, so I've got to look at the screen. As you get older, you see, you try and fight it, but I've just had to give in to needing to wear glasses. So, right, Name That Boom Boom. So I read out lyrics to 80 songs and you have to guess. Normally I've got a guest, and if I do it with them, they'll do it with me, but I'm on my own today. Pat Malone. So let's get going. Come on, you ready? Right, number one, the first song. This is the lyrics. Come on, scream it. You will get this one. Even though it's been so long, my love for you keeps growing strong. Remember the things that we used to do. A kiss in the rain, let the sun shine through. Come on. If you don't, I'm going to sing it. So shout it out to Jay. Come on. Come on, come on. You want me to sing it, don't you? Come on then. Right. Get that voice going, Jay. Even though it's been so long, my love for you keeps growing strong. I remember the things that we used to do. A kiss in the rain to the... You know what? Come on, you got it then. Natalie Cole with Miss You Like Crazy. Loved it. Absolute brilliant song. That always reminds me of the 80s. I think it's a bit of a late day. That was 1989, but absolutely brilliant. Right, come on. Second one. You can get this. Deep breaths, remember? If you don't get this one, you will get this one. Lay a whisper on my pillow. Leave the winter on the ground. I wake up lonely. There's an air of silence in the bedroom and all around. Come on. You know it. I can sing it. This is what you're waiting for, and you're waiting for a beautiful voice. Lay a whisper on my pillow. Leave the winter on the ground. I wake up lonely. There's an air of silence. Roxette. It must have been love. 1987. That was actually out a bit earlier before it went into the film, because the film was out in the 1990s, but that song was out in 87. Roxette. Do you know what? A little snippet about Roxette. I went to watch them oh God, I know the amazing lady passed away, didn't she? But we went to see her before that, and she was absolutely, I've got to say that she was absolutely amazing. I've had loads of great voices, but her voice was just something else. So just that I'd put that in. Absolutely stunning voice. Right, your third question on Name That Boom Boom. You will get this one. You will get this one. What would I have to do to get you to notice me too? Do I stand in line? One of a million admiring eyes. You will get... Come on. Shout it out to Jay. Am I going to sing all these? I'll have to sing it. You better. What would I have to do to get you to notice me too? Would I stand in line? One of a million admiring eyes. Donna Summer. This time I know it's a real classic. Classic disco diva Donna Summer was. Absolutely brilliant. Right, your fourth one. You will get this one, but I may not sing this because I think I'm going to crucify this if I try and sing this song. Right. She's the kind of girl you dream of keeping hold of. You better forget. You'll never get it. She will play around and leave you. I'll do that again for you. That sound, even I couldn't get that, and I got the words in front of me. She's the kind of girl you dream of keeping hold of. You'd better forget it. You never get it. She will play around and leave you. Read it out. Come on, sing it out. I'm not even going to sing this one because I just couldn't do this. I can't do this. I'll crucify it. I'll give it to you. Phil Collins and Phil Bailey, Easy Lover. Now, that is a brilliant song. That always reminds me of the 80s. I think, to be honest, that's 85. I actually thought that was a little bit later. But yeah, 1985. What a smash. Right, your last but not least. And I will sing this one if you don't get it. Catch that mirror way out west. You know you're something special and you look like the best. Come on. Think 1982 on a yacht. 5 lads on a yacht, sailing out into the open sea. I'm not even going to sing this one because I can't sing this one. This song is Duran Duran and Rio. My name is Rio and she's dancing on the sand. That's all I know. So yeah, so that's your name that boom boom done. Right. I've got something coming up for you now. So I was doing an interview. If you've watched the 10-10-10 I do, which is 10 questions, 10 minutes, 10 seconds, I did a chat with Wendy. We was just doing the 10-10, but it literally, once we finished it, you get into it and we were just talking about loads of stuff about the 80s. So I recorded it and it was absolutely brilliant. It was one of those off the cuff things that I weren't expecting because we were just going to do the 10-10-10, but take a listen to this. Absolutely brilliant.
Holly Johnson, I think it's a TikTok, I'm not sure now, but he's explained, I actually did a duet with it because he was saying what the words in the song meant.
Yeah. And that's what I find really fascinating is like we were saying, like not just Madonna, there's loads of songs, like especially with actors. I have no idea. I mean, when you listen to the lyrics of them songs, it's like, wow. It's like I was singing them songs out as a kid, not having an unclear idea of what I was singing about, but it was just, I loved it. And it's like, that's why I just think listening to them now as an adult, you can go through them, can't you? Think, oh, that's what that means. And that's a little bit risky. Because when you think you're going like 40 odd years ago in the 80s, aren't you? It's like some of them things you think, you know what I mean? I mean, you could get away with them then.
He was explaining, what the words were expressing and what he was expressing when he was singing it. And I can't remember what he said, but he said something in it. And I'm like, am I the only one that didn't pick that up?
I have to be honest. Honestly, and it's like, what was that? What was his songs? Is it Relax or one of them? And he's going, and it's like, and as a kid singing it, it's like now when I think about it, it's like when he sits there going, he must be relaxed, and he's going, I'm coming, and I just think to myself, I sang that. It's just a song, I get relaxed, but when you listen to it, and when you hear it, and you just think, oh my God, who was screeching that out in the discos as a kid, and not having it. I mean, people say, did you not? I went, no, I didn't. When you're like 12 or 13, I was never naive, but I just think it never went into my head that for me it was just a song, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's just a song, and the way he was explaining it, at that time, and at that time of that he sang the song, and the words to releasing the words, and they meant all this is that, and I'm like, I'm listening, I'm going, no, it didn't mean that to me.
Even now, Wendy, like I always think, 'cause I got an old Smash Hits magazine out, and the Relax song was in there. And as I was looking through the lyrics, because I was trying to do this, I am going to do this lyrics thing, I think. And I was looking at these lyrics, and I just thought, why did I not know what they were saying? But then it wasn't. It's the way it's written. It's like when I do my boom boom thing, isn't it? When you read the songs out, the song sounds nothing. The lyrics sound nothing like the song. And I think it was a song that we all loved. And looking at the lyrics, I think, why did I not realise what they were singing about? But it's like everything else, isn't it? It's like, I mean, there's songs nowadays, isn't it? But I think especially from the 80s and that, they were a little bit. They were a little bit more risky, weren't they, with some of their lyrics? And
but they didn't realise that at the time.
No.
I mean, people talk about artists today, especially women, girls, with flimsy, hardly not on. But when you look back in the 80s,
they hardly had anything.
They were the same.
I always think when I watch some of the 80s, I just think if you bent over that quick or jumped anywhere, you would see everything you've had for breakfast. Do you know what I mean? You just, but it's like the leotards, wasn't it? When they used to wear them leotards, and you just think to yourself, I can see everything.
What was that one John Travolta did? The Exercise with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh God, I can't. What was that film? I can never remember that film, but I remember I've seen clips of that, and that was. I'm not being funny. That was right. When they're both fisting at each other, and you just think. I can remember watching that clip the other day and thinking, I need a cigarette after watching that. So I feel like I need a smoke. But that's the thing, isn't it? And it's I just love all the. It's like, but when do you know, like I know it's a bit of an older song, but it was at end of 80s. It's like you're the one that I want. When you listen to that, when you read some of them words in there, they're a little bit, and it's a bit like, what was it? I know this is probably, I'm sure this is a little bit sooner than 80s, but I remember it from the 80s. Was Grease Lightning?
Yeah,
the words. And then and they. Hitting whatever they were saying, and you just think to yourself, but as a kid listening to that, you were screaming that around the house, weren't you? Now when you listen to it, you think.
Even the opening song to Grease that he sings, Summer Lovin', haven't it yet?
Exactly. And it's like, and she's telling the truth in it, he's lying about it, he's saying that he went down in whatever, and she was doing it, and she's skipping about saying, do you know,
so many 80s parties and charity dues, 70s and 80s. And the music comes on and I don't blink an eyelid to the words. It's the tune.
Yeah.
I'm dancing to the tune, or obviously
you hear it's like with things like when you hear that first bit of Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody," you know exactly what.
Don't you think, Jason? I don't know whether it was to do with the record deals, that the longer the record was, the introduction was longer.
Yeah.
To the
before the start. And it's a bit like, I always think that because for me one of the most iconic 80s intros is Brothers in Arms. It's I can't remember the name now. Dire Straits. Do. Now that guitar bit at the beginning is just mind blowing for me. I just think, and we don't do that anymore, do we? We don't get them big, massive.
No, the straight into the song.
Yeah, and that, I mean, Whitney does that, didn't it? I mean, Whitney, it was especially I Want to Dance with Somebody, and you had all the other 80s stuff, and even things like Duran Duran when they did Rio, that had that intro to start off. George Michael's classic, George Michael's Faith. That intro is quite a bit of it, isn't it? And all it is that bit like churchy stuff, doesn't it? And is it coming in, and then all of a sudden you get straight into that guitar stuff. Oh God, I love it. We don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? We don't have, like you were saying, we don't have them big, massive intros anymore. And I don't know why. It's probably even era.
Yeah. It's sort of like when you go you go to the club or you're in the dance, and the intro's on, and you're like,
you're gone.
By the time on the dance floor.
And do you know what another one that is as well? I know I think it's a bit early, but it's like that intro. And I'm sure it's a bit early. It might have been a bit earlier than it was YMCA. The beginning of that intro of YMCA, when that comes on, I don't care where people are. They're on that gay, male, straight, bi. No one, absolutely. You get on that. You hear that intro.
You have loads of times to get out of your chair and get to the dance floor.
I mean, The thing is, you know what's coming on, don't you? When you see that, and I just think you don't. I mean, I got some vinyl. I was listening to some vinyl the other day, some 80s stuff, and you're right about the intros because I love that crackling bit as well.
Yeah.
And when it was on, you could hear that crackling. It was I want to dance with somebody, and then all that intro started. Oh God, that was so good. And for me, vinyl, even though I've got it obviously on CD and cassette, I've got, but the vinyl and it's like this is because someone says to me, "Oh, do you buy like vinyl that's from the 80s that's new stuff?" Because you can buy the new stuff, you can buy it remade, and I don't want it remade because for me, I want it to look older. The case, I don't want it to look a mess, but I want it to look old because it's over 40 odd years then, isn't it? And the record, they're a lot more thin in that in the 80s than they are now. And when I put that in, I want to hear a lot of that crackling and when the song's playing, because that reminds me of being a kid in the 80s when I listened to all that crackling. Whereas nowadays, if I brought a brand new version of it, it wouldn't sound the same to me.
I've got original Michael Jackson one.
Yeah.
Original Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Yeah.
And
an
original Diana Ross one.
I mean, I could go and buy them, Wendy, and you could go and buy them and buy the brand new ones, and they'd be in mint condition. But I like the fact that they're old.
These are all old, and you can smell the oldness of the paper.
Absolutely.
Old now, you can smell the old. How old
and the record, and I didn't realise because I have got a newer vinyl. I think I was brought for a birthday. I was brought Wham's when Wham had their big massive Andrew Ridgid brought their big massive hits things out, and I had one on vinyl, and it's really thick. It's really bizarre. But when you get the older stuff on vinyl now, you forget how thin the vinyl was compared to now. Yes. It was quite thin. To be honest, I suppose being a kid, I probably never even came into my head, to be fair.
I mean, I loved using record players, and then when the needle wasn't playing, you'd stick a halfpenny or something on top of the
weight on
it. Put a bit of weight on it because it wasn't playing.
Sometimes they used to bounce, didn't they? You know, like I mean, I'll talk about this to my sister, because my sister's I've got my sister into vinyl. She's just bought a birthday, got a record player. And she goes, how did we used to like stack them up? I goes, well, the record player I used to have, the first one, used to have a big, massive silver bit in the middle. So you used to used to have an arm as well that came across, didn't it? So when you put about 3 or 4 records on, this arm that came across, and the metal bit had like a lever underneath, didn't it, that held the records. And when one played and the arm come back, the other one would. I mean, the amount of times about 3 of them dropped.
Yeah,
that's it. Literally.
Eventually they were dropped. Yeah, eventually they would drop.
Yeah, but that's how we did it, wasn't it? That's how we, instead of having to keep playing one, it's like that. You know what I mean? And I didn't realise how quick the vinyl. Not quick. When I was listening to some of the vinyl the other day, I didn't realise that. Because for me, I thought there were loads on that album on one side, but there wasn't. They only had like 4 or 5 on one side, didn't the songs? And then you had to turn it over and especially the double ones. If you get some of the double albums from the 80s, because I was listening to them, I just thought, God, is that it? There's only 5 songs on that side, and they used to have 5 on each, didn't they? And it's like we were saying about buying new stuff. I mean, for me, when I see the cover and when I see the record and the middle bit of the record. And it reminds me of growing up. If I got the newer version, it's not the same because the middle bit's completely different to me, and I don't want that. And I know people love buying vinyl, buying the new, and I've got some new stuff. But for me, because obviously I'm a bit obsessed with the 80s stuff, I buy a lot of 80s. I mean, I've never been so excited, Wendy, over getting George Michael's Different Corner on 7-inch single come through the other week.
Oh, brilliant.
And I felt like I was. I don't know if you heard me. I was talking about when I got my George Michael Different Corner vinyl come through. I was like a 5-year-old. No, I was like a teenager. It was like, you know, because I had that sort of stuff. And when obviously I got on my left end, there was stuff in the attic, and it just got lost and removed. And I just think it's quite. I mean, we're quite lucky, aren't we, that we can get some of that stuff back now because people are selling all their stuff and all the 80s stuff, but. Yeah, it was. I have to be honest. I got that. It was a 7-inch thing, and it was like I'd gone back and just listening to it, the crackling, and I mean, Different Corner is one of the most amazing songs. I always think, but to listen to it on vinyl is just. Do you know what I mean? It's for me. I know people say I say that because I like 80s stuff, and I just don't. It's like when I hear people and they'll say, "Oh, I never really liked the 80s music," and I always think, really, I'm sure the 80s is the one decade where the music because it always comes back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
do you know what I mean?
It always comes back, and I'm like that sort of like, because I class some of the late 70s thinking that they're 80s, not they're actually late 70s. You know, that which I think
like that. I'm like that with things like the Nolan sisters. I know that they came out. So some of their songs were out in the 80s.
Yes.
But they were quite end of 70s, weren't they? And I used to love the Nolan sisters.
Yeah.
That my mum never knew.
I wanted to be a Nolan sister.
They were. I mean, they were good at. You know, I mean, I absolutely did love the Nolan sisters. I put my hands up. I loved the Nolan sisters when I was growing up.
I remember falling out with my boyfriend because he was ogling them on the TV too much.
But they did, because it was like they loved it, didn't they? Because they were like all these good-looking Irish girls, you know what I mean, and singing them. Oh, do you know what? I used to have. I think that's another album I need to go and try and get on vinyl.
Yeah, I mean, people don't remember, you know, a lot of their songs.
No, but I'm in the mood for dancing. If you don't know that song, that's another one. That's another song that you can literally, the beginning of that song comes on, when you're out, you go absolutely mad for it, don't you? When the beginning of that I'm in the mood for dancing comes on, you just think, yeah, and you're off and you've gone, and you know what I mean, you've got your mic and you're one of the Nolans for at least about 3.5 minutes. People always say to me, would you ever go to, I mean, it's like they have like the George Michael 80s tribute bands, and I won't. Because I've seen him live, and I'm not saying tribute bands are really bad, because I'm not, because some of them are friends of ours. Friends of ours have got another tribute band, and they're absolutely brilliant, and they smash it every time. It's just brilliant. But it's just, I think, just for me sometimes, especially if it's different. But I think people like George Michael that I idolised, I think I'd probably be a bit critical, so I think it's not worth me going to see it.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it's just.
But all the other stuff, and I really, you know, because you can go to like 80s Butlins, can't you? They do all that 80s stuff.
They do all that.
Yeah, I think I would love that. I think that would be absolutely brilliant.
I went to Pontins with Kazzy, not last year, the year before. The one who sang Madonna songs was not too bad. The one who sang Prince, he was what you call
terrible.
Absolutely, yeah. Even his outfit looked as though it was from a second-hand.
It was a bit of a I shouldn't say prime, a bit of a Wish. No, when you buy something off a Wish, it was a Wish.
That's what I was trying to do.
A Wish Prince.
A Wish Prince. Most people walked out and they're like, "Oh my God!"
Really?
His wig was on a slant. You know, his wig wasn't even on properly. You know, like,
But the thing is, I know that you've not. If you go to a tribute, that you've got to resemble a little bit. It's about the sound I get, but you've got to resemble. And Prince had quite a unique voice, didn't he? And he had that quite like high pitched bit he could get in his voice. And if you're doing Prince and you sound nothing, I used to love Prince in the 80s. Things with Prince as well.
Underrated Prince, I think he was very underrated.
He was. Prince had one of those. He was really bizarre because he looked like he would talk like Jimmy Somerville.
Yes.
From the Communards, but he had this really deep voice. You know what I mean? He had this quite a deep-ish voice. But yeah, Prince was. I mean, I was saying that the 80s, I was watching that 80s We Are the World documentary that was on the other day.
Yeah, I've got that. Yes.
Oh, Wendy, I was so fascinated with that, because obviously, like, love it. And do you know, to watch all them iconic that are not with us now, like Quincy Jones, Tina Turner, and watching how that was made was just really fascinating, because I knew it was made quite quick, but I didn't realise it was made in one night.
Yeah.
And it was made when they got all the stars at the awards, weren't they, that Lionel Richie was. I just think, and it was like to like 6, 7. 7 o'clock in the morning from.
Yeah, when I seen some of them, I thought, well, I've actually seen like you've seen George Michael and other artists, and then when I look at them, I think I've seen Lionel Richie and
Diana Ross,
Diana Reimer, and I've saw Diana Ross. You know, and it's like I've seen them people. And
I just found the whole watching all that sort of stuff. It's probably better because I'm upset. Because like yourself, I love the 80s, so I will be more into it. But it just fascinated me watching all them big, massive. And to be honest, there were no egos there. Whether there were no one. So, and poor Cyndi Lauper. I mean, how many times did you have to sing that part?
I know. I've I haven't seen the full version, but I have seen.
Maybe not. Sorry, watch it.
But I've not seen the full version. I've seen clips of it over the years, but some of them, obviously, some of the clips that I don't think the
spoiler bit was the bit was with Cyndi Lauper when she had to sing that bit, the iconic bit. She had to do it. She got it right, but because the others hadn't got it right, or they came in a little bit too soon, she had to resit. Oh, poor woman! The amount of times she had to sing 3 or 4 times, she had to do that bit.
Putting that together in the time limit they had,
a night, literally a night from. I think it was from like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, wasn't it? Because they'd all been to that awards show.
You have to be at the studio. You want to get a load of people to die in. They need our help.
Absolutely. And like Bruce Springsteen's voice in that song is just amazing. And it was great. It was really nice. When you watch it, it's really nice because you do see some of the. It's nice to see Bruce Springsteen now.
Yeah, I've got to show you this because this is what I keep out of my bed.
Is it Bruce? Oh, is it good? Is it a good book? Oh, amazing voice. He had that voice. It sounded like a bit like Bonnie Tyler, that sort of gravelly voice, didn't it?
And it's one of them books where it's like. It's got pictures in, you know. It has to have pictures. Really? I'm a bit.
And he was a good-looking man.
Oh, and it's just he's energetic. His guitar, the people that he's met, and his styles that he's.
And I didn't realise when I watched that. If you watch that documentary thing as well, Wendy, when he was in it, because he just literally finished a world tour that night, and then when he stayed up till like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to go. I mean, you know what I mean? You just think, oh, God.
Yeah, because it was like sort of. He was born 23rd of the 9th, 1949.
Was it? Jesus.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I mean, my mum was born, so he's literally like 74.
Yeah, because my husband was born in 53. He's 70 turned.
So if you watch that, I have to be honest, he looks good in there if that's his age, and he's still rocking it. Oh, Bruce Springsteen, bloody hell, fair play to him.
Phil Collins.
Oh, Phil, was his 73rd birthday? Was it Phil Collins recently?
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Phil Collins and Bruce.
Oh, yeah. Have you not seen Bruce?
No, never seen him.
I always think with Bruce Springsteen, especially when he sang Born in the USA with his nice little hot jeans on. But he's got one of them. He's a bit like, he reminds me, his voice is a bit like Bonnie Tyler's, isn't it? Bonnie Tyler's got that husky, sounds like she's, like singing graveler. And Bruce Springsteen had the same thing. Yeah. And Bruce Springsteen's got that same deep gravel. And I love all that sort of like, Do you know what I'm saying? I always feel like I need a drink of water because they're so deep. Yeah. And it was really nice as well. It's like with people like we were talking about, like Tina Turner. I mean, Tina Turner was just something else, wasn't she? And when you hear her on there, and it's like when you watch her on. I mean, that song, when you listen to that song's completely different to me now. I've watched that thinger, knowing what they all went through and how they went through to make it. And it was not, to be honest, and you see all them 80s icons that we've lost. I mean, Michael Jackson was on there, and Quincy Jones.
And they all got on. They all got on, and they were put in set for each part of that song. For that, it was amazing how the.
And do you know what I find? Do you know what I find? Yeah. And do you know what I find really humbling watching it was when they chose the main people to sing the solo parts. I mean, you think this is 1984, is it 85?
Yeah.
There were no egos. No one moaned about who was singing the part. No one was moaning about, why haven't I got a solo part?
And you know what else? They didn't have people, makeup artists, buffing the cheeks, putting the lipstick on, making the hair, making the clothes.
Yeah. They'd done it all themselves. They literally went in there and just smashed it. And I just think you wouldn't get that anymore. I mean,
amazing was Wendy. Wendy, you need to come back again. That was absolutely. That was literally an off-the-cuff thing. That was something we weren't expecting to do. Like I said before, it was just going to be the 10-10-10 quiz, but we got some great stuff out of that. So thanks ever so much for Wendy. And that's it. That's me done for another episode. So if you want to email me on 80sboomboom@gmail.com, if you want to be a guest, I would love you to be a guest on either the 10-10-10 or the podcast chat. It would be absolutely brilliant. So follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or even Twitter. On YouTube, somewhere on the link down here when this video goes out, there's a subscribe button for YouTube. Absolutely brilliant. So thanks ever so much for joining me and have a good day.